Hi, good afternoon. How are we doing today? I'll be sharing my screen now and we'll be going into the meet for the session. All right, if you are joining me, kindly let me know where you are joining from. I'll be happy to welcome you especially and to also celebrate you for joining. All right, so last week we spoke about from solo performer to team leader, mastering the shift from managing self to managing others, and it was engaging. It was quite instructive, and we're able to learn one or two things together. So today we'll be moving to the part 2 of our session. But before we do that, I'd love to just speak a little bit about myself. My name is Okwemi Shokumi. Thank you for joining. Presently, I function in the role of the Chief Technology Officer at Press One Africa, where we help businesses transform their business communication. So in case you have any challenge around your communication as an enterprise, that's what we do at Press One Africa. We help you ensure that you can solve that problem, whether it's over voice, over chat, whatever channel, that's what we do. All right, this session is a weekly session where I share practical insights, experiences, tips on how you can navigate real life experiences as a leader, as a young professional, as a family person, as a human being. And I think it's been instructive, it's been engaging, it's been encouraging. And some of the things we've had, on our session has become instructive, much more instructive. There was a time we spoke about how to handle conflict with customers, how to deal with difficult conversation. I mean, we've done quite some interesting discourse, and I really hope that you will learn from them and we can see what's happening in the society today. All right, so we'll do a recap of what we learned last week. We'll go into the main discourse and we'll summarize the conversation. All right, last week we spoke about if you want to be a leader, that you need to have habits. Focusing on about 10 habits, but last week we were able to only speak about 5 of the habits that you need to have as a leader. We spoke about embracing continuous learning. I mean, you are coming into a new role with so much gap of what is known versus unknown, and you need to immerse yourself into a learning culture that is endless, whether it is in book, is in project, it's with people, is in conversation. You need to learn the ways of leading, engaging, and managing people. Secondly, we spoke about seeking mentoring and peer support. This is critical and this is essential. It's critical and essential because you would need to learn from people who have gone ahead of you, people who have walked the way, people who can tell you, oh, this is what you can do differently, this is what you can do better, and that will give you insight as to how to manage the crisis or manage the challenge or day-to-day activity. You need to also cultivate emotional intelligence. Like I always put it, when you speak, you need to process what is being spoken first. How would the hearer respond to it? And this is why you need to understand that it's not a function of how you are feeling, it's a function of what is intended to be achieved. You are feeling unhappy, you have to speak unhappy. No, you need to distill and separate whatever feeling you are having and speak as to what the matter is. Communicate clearly and listen actively. We mentioned that communication is the most important skill a new leader needs. If you are not able to communicate with your team, if you are not able to take them from point A to point B, clearly articulating the end goal right from the beginning, then there will be an issue. Also, in terms of listening, you have to listen more. Active listening is not a function of you preparing the response. No, you listen to understand first, and where you don't have understanding, you rephrase. to ensure that you are aligned or there is, proper understanding and you can move on. Now, delegate tasks and empower your team. We spoke about ensuring that you multiply yourself in your team and trust them to manage tasks. Also, we spoke about how you can ensure that at least, say for example, there's a report in your team, 2 to 3 people can prepare one single report so that there's no room or issue of, Mr. A is on leave and then the team is stuck, or there's a performance issue in your team. Everyone will contribute. All right, so let's move to the conversation for today. The first icebreaker I'd love to speak about is just think at your very first leadership experience. For some of us, it started way back in primary school where you were, appointed as a prefect. No one told you it's a leadership role, but that's your first. For some, it was in high school. You were also a prefect. For some, it was in the university. You were in the student union or student association, as it may be in some universities. For some, it was on your first job. It was at school, even as a class captain, as a course coordinator in your community or even your family. What's one thing you wish you had known before stepping into that role? What's one thing you wish you had known before stepping into that role? Tough one. Now drop it in the comments and let's have a conversation around this. And how are you, managing that going forward? Icebreaker 2. If you had to choose right now, tough one. If you are a new leader, I can imagine where you will be swaying on this one. This one, you just tell yourself that I prefer where I'm coming from. If you had to choose right now, would you rather be a star solo performer or the leader of a high-performing team, and why? If you are stuck in terms of navigating your new team as a new leader, you will ask yourself that, hey, my previous life is better. In some cases, you even tell yourself that, what have I done to myself? But you will realize that it's just a journey and you have to start from somewhere. So don't be dissuaded or don't be discouraged. So whatever will be your choice, also drop in the comment and let's have conversation and interaction around it. All right, just to open up the conversation, the first thing I'd love to say is that the transition from individual contributor to a team leader represents one of the most pivotal moments in your career. It's a time that will shape the kind of leader you will ever become in your journey of life. It's a journey that will transform not just what you do, but who you are. There are so many things about you that you might not be sure about, but this opportunity to lead and moving from being an IC, individual contributor, to a leader, maybe a manager, a director, whatever the role is, it's going to change who you are. Trust me. All right, the key areas that you have to be mindful of, and I don't want to leave this to the end, I'm pushing it forward, is that you need to transform some part of yourself. The first is your mindset, meaning that you need to understand that it's no longer about you doing anything. It's not about no longer about the activity you go through. It's no longer about you moving from here to there. No, it's about now unlocking an enabling opportunity through others. That's the first mindset you need to have. You need to understand that what you used to do before, in quotes, is not a child's play. Now is that a time where you need to get your results delivered through other people. The next is skills, from technical expertise to people leadership. Now, your technical expertise will still be relevant once in a while, from time to time, but it will no longer be the reason why you will shine as a person. Your leadership competency, your leadership capability, your leadership development, and how sound you are as a leader will mean a lot. Now, the impact from that individual contribution from your corner, that part that you are dealing with, now transit to the team's success. Last but not the least is growth. It means you now move from personally achieving things, goals, KPIs, objectives, to developing others. It simply means that then the hope and future of other people will then be tied to you. Now, this journey requires courage, humility, and commitment to continuous learning and unlocking opportunities for both yourself and others. This journey, I will repeat again, requires courage, because there will be some decision you need to make that you are not used to making before. It will require humility, because you need to understand that if you are not able to engage as human with people, you will not be a great leader. And this is where humility comes in. Even despite the fact that you know and you have superior knowledge than someone, you must be humble enough to translate it to that person and not boss them around and not just drop it on their lap and say, go and do it, and whatever happens, I bear the responsibility. No. And then commitment to that journey to say that I will be a better leader. One of the struggles we've had, or we always have as humans, is that when we see other people, we say that I will be better. But over time, research, experience, reality has shown that sometimes we even become worse than those people. And this is where it's critical, it's important for you to understand that it's not about comparing yourself to someone, a previous line manager, or someone else that has managed you some years back, a decade ago, but for you to understand that this is your own journey and you need to own it. You need to take it through and deliver value to your team, your community, your family, and at the end of the day, yourself. All right, so number six, after we've spoken about the first 5 habits, number 6 is set clear goals and align expectations. Set clear goals and align expectations. Now, a reliable manager provides clarity for direction. If you are not able to clearly set the direction and the pace of what will happen in your team, then your team might struggle with alignment. And this is where you need to understand that you must be able to set clear goals that are not complex or difficult for people to understand and for people to follow, and then break them down into, micro parts that people can then, understand that there is traction or there is progress, and not, tied to one thing that is a big bang. All right. Now, you need to use whatever metric or methodology that is available in your organization. Some people will say that they follow OKR model, objective and key results, where you say this is the objective and this is the result we achieve. Some people will say, it's a KPI model. You have a KPI and you have a tracker to manage the KPI. So whatever is existing in your organization, use the SMART goal methodology. Make sure it is, simple, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound, and define the key metrics. How do you measure result? What does result look like? Don't just make it phantom. Don't just make it look like idea. Make it a reality. Make it something that people can track, can measure. It could be a daily tracker or a daily metric, weekly or monthly. I would suggest that don't let it be beyond quarterly. Yes, in some cases you have biannual or half-yearly results, but I would suggest that quarterly is better to measure so that you can track it. Now, document agreement and responsibility. So if you set an objective from the beginning of the year, whatever is planned to be achieved, document it and make sure it is agreed upon by both parties. Where it is applicable and possible, let there be a sign-off. All right, connect individual tasks to bigger organization's objectives. So when you set an objective or a goal in your team, let it be connected, intertwined with the larger organization's objective, so that your team can see themselves as being part of the big picture. All right, check in periodically and adjust as needed. This is the toughest part of a manager's job because you just have so many things going on over and over and over and over. And I would suggest that you calendarize this. Calendarize it to say that at the beginning of the year, the last 3 days of each quarter, I'm going to review the performance of my team. I'm going to check in on how we are doing. I'm going to track what is happening. If you think, all the results wouldn't have come in by that time, and you need to then get the result first 3 days of the week, then you might say, the second week of the next quarter. So Q1 has ended. The second week of the first month of Q2, you will be a good time to do a periodic check-in and see exactly where you are. Now, clarity eliminates confusion and empowers autonomous performance. It ensures that there is no ambiguity, there is no confusion, there is nothing that is not clear for any team member. That's what clarity does. And it helps ensure that on their own, as individual, they can perform and do their job. Now, the clarity crisis. Goal setting ranks among top training needs for new managers. If you are struggling to set a goal, there are a lot of courses online you can go through that will help you to break down how to set up your goal. Again, as much as possible, you can also speak to senior colleagues or leaders who have done similar roles than you. First-time managers struggle most with providing clear direction. Vague guidance leads to team frustration and poor performance. Teams perform better when they understand how their work connects to company's mission. I mentioned that earlier. And clear expectation reduce the need for micromanagement. When the expectation from the team members is not clear, you end up, supporting almost everything that they are doing. And that turns out to become a micromanagement approach to leading your team. Now, when everyone knows the targets, you can, give them autonomy to hit it. Meaning that when the target is set and clear, it becomes, something that is very direct for everyone to achieve. If you have ever watched an Olympic, a team called archery, you realize that for an archer to point their arrow and take their bow and fire to hit the bullseye or to hit any of the point on the board, you see that it is very clear before them. They can see exactly what they are moving towards, and there's nothing that is holding them back. Yes, there are other factors, like the wind, other factors like the mindset, mind frame, the steadiness of the hand and all that, but those have techniques that can improve them. But the most important thing is what is in front of your team, let it be clear so that they can focus and achieve. Now, the path forward. A person who does not know where they are going should not be in a hurry. Now, before asking your team to move very fast, ensure they know the destination. And this is where clear goals and direction helps them to have quick, confident movement towards success. It's not something that will hold them back because they will be so certain that this is where we are going and going there, nothing holding me back. Let's move on to the next point. Provide feedback and coach regularly. Now, great leaders teach and coach to help their team. Whether you like it or not, there is a place where your new team, an existing team, will still struggle to understand you as a leader. It's going to take time. In fact, if you're a leader and you're in a role for 6 years, 8 years, for those duration, there will be people that will never understand you. So that's where feedback and regular coaching comes in. To ensure that you move them from that bit of they don't understand your style of working, they don't understand your style of communication, then you move them to, you give something that is a bit bespoke and unique to them, and they can understand you better. Now, great managers aren't just taskmasters. Go and do this, go and do that. No, they are teachers and coaches. Now, you need to give timely, constructive feedback regularly. During your check-in, during your performance evaluation, please ensure that you give timely and constructive feedback. In some cases, you can also ask your team member, how do you prefer feedback to be given? Do you want it almost instantly? Do you want it weekly, monthly? What would you prefer? It's important so that you give the feedback at the right time and you will not say, oh, I've forgotten about it. Address issues early rather than letting problems fester. You have observed something that is being done by a team member. It's not at par with the standard established or expected. It is below par in terms of performance and output that is being churned out. Don't wait for a long time and say, oh, I will tell him. No. Ensure that you address those issues early than letting problems fester. In some cases where you figure that you remember the issue, but before you tell the person, something else has happened, send them a message. It could be a chat, it could be on Teams, on Zoom, whatever the instant messaging platform of the organization is. Send a chat to them. If WhatsApp works in your team, use it. If it's an email, drop it an email and say, oh, let's have this discussion tomorrow, so that you will not forget them. Now, view mistakes as coaching opportunities. I want to note that not all mistakes can be coached. Yes. So note that there are exceptional and there are cases that is beyond you transiting to coaching. But for majority, over 80% of most cases I have seen as a leader, please don't take it too hard on the team. Take it as an opportunity. Even if you issue a query or whatever approach of managing conflict or problem in your organization is followed, still take time to coach your team member. Now, create development plans for team members. So let's imagine a team member has done something, is below par, is not at the expected quality that is the standard of the organization. You need to understand that it is possible that there is a gap in terms of knowledge, and you need to then put in place a development plan for that gap so that you close the gap in competency within your organization and your team. Now, your team's growth is your success multiplied. So don't abstract yourself from their failures and their wobbling performances. Ingrain yourself into how you can help them grow, because immediately they grow, you have multiplied yourself and your successes. Now, most new leaders avoid crucial conversations. 40% of employees say first-time managers are weak at giving quality feedback. Because you want to be nice, you want to be friends with your new team, please don't make a mistake of overlooking, vital points that needs discussion. Now, many new leaders shy away from difficult conversations. We've spoken about difficult conversations, how to handle them. In case you missed them, please go and watch previous episode. I think the past 4 episodes, at least 3 of the past 4 episodes spoke about difficult conversation. Now, regular coaching dramatically improves team performance and retention. The conversation you avoid become the problem that persists. All right, let's see what the elders have to say about it. The seed that is not watered will not sprout. The seed that is not watered will not sprout. Now, like seed that needs water to grow, your team members need regular feedback and coaching to reach their full potential. Neglect this and talent will remain dormant. Where you can unlock potentials, talent, opportunities, they will remain dormant because you have refused to give them the feedback they need to correct some of the things they are doing that is not at par as to your expectation, and then coach them to ensure that they are better team players and performers. All right, manage conflict and difficult situations. Now, you need resolution skills and boldness to act. Manage conflict and difficult situations. Now, you cannot run away from conflict. You will have conflict within your team, with any of your team member, with external parties. You will have conflict. Conflict is something that is a must have in every organization. And you need to just understand that developing the resolution skills or skills to resolve conflict early is essential. Now, notice issues early and address them proactively. Let your team understand that you are open to have engagement or interaction such that they don't run away from bringing issues to you. and then those issues will grow, they will fester, and then you are now doing firefighting. Now, stay neutral and listen to all perspectives. Note that because you are human, there are tendencies that you would love one team member than the other, or you would trust one than the other. You will connect with one than other. Please, when you have yourself in that scenario, stay neutral and listen to all the perspectives. Don't jump to conclusion based on their past behavior, based on their past experience. No, treat every conflict or every issue as new, as unique. Now, focus on facts and solutions, not personalities. Focus on facts and solutions, not personalities. Now, make tough calls firmly, not fairly. Make tough calls firmly and not fairly. What you need to understand is that you need to be firm. I'm not saying don't be fair. You need to be fair and firm, but most importantly, you need to be firm. You need to be able to put your feet down and say, this is exactly what the policy of the organization says. This is the expected quality I want. This is the standard I want, and that is non-negotiable. Now, conflict handled well becomes opportunity for positive change and innovation. When people have conflict, we think that, it's going to break us apart. No, conflict in itself should help us become better as individuals, know each other's strengths and weaknesses, know where we should avoid going forward to ensure that we don't bring up negative energy and negative challenges or issues or conflict in our team. All right, the conflict competence gap. The conflict competence gap. Now, conflict management is where most new managers fail. Nearly half of new managers worldwide lack effective conflict management skills. And 61% of rising managers struggle with clarifying the root of conflicts. Poor conflict management hurts team morale and productivity. And it's important that you manage and avoid conflicts not being handled appropriately. If your organization have standards around it, follow the standard to the ladder and find new ways to strengthen your team. Now, well-managed conflict can actually strengthen teams and drive innovation. In conclusion, the ability to navigate conflict separates effective leaders from ineffective ones. All right, when spider webs unite, they tie up a lion. Wow, this is powerful. An Ethiopian proverb says, when spider web unite, they can tie up a lion. Now, individual conflicts may seem small, but when left unresolved, they can entangle and paralyze even the strongest teams. They can break teams into what people will call cabal or caucus. And there will be this caucus, there will be that caucus, and there will be that caucus. No, that will not make your team strong and effective. So address disputes quickly before they multiply and possibly overwhelm the team. Master time management and prioritization. Now, your team effectiveness depends on this. Master time management and prioritization. The teams that I think I have seen that are very, 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 I don't know how to put it, meticulous with these two things tied together are usually finance teams. Finance teams are, I don't know how to put them, they are extremely disciplined. And this, you need to understand that whatever side of the business you belong to, whether you're in engineering, whether you're in product management, whether you are in marketing, whether you are in sales, internal facing, external facing, whether you are in any unit, any department you are in, you would understand that you need to master time management and prioritization. It's critical and it's important. If it's not done properly, this will affect the productivity and the trust that the team will have, because if you don't manage your time properly, it means you guys will be behind schedule on almost anything you are doing, and if your prioritization are wrong, then it's going to be a mess. Now, management often feels like there aren't enough hours in the day, but when you prioritize ruthlessly, it will help you in terms of how to engage whatever is available in terms of the task, in terms of project, or in terms of activities. Now, determine what's truly important and focus there. Now, there is this matrix of urgent versus important. Some things are important but are not urgent. Some things are urgent and important, and that then becomes the extreme of that matrix. So it depends on exactly how you, or what standard you are using. But you need to understand that you must focus on the things that are most critical in terms of importance to the objectives of the organization, and focus there. Now, learn to say no or not now to non-essential tasks. Now, there are times that people will bring some things to your doorsteps and say, oh, this thing is urgent, we need to do this, we need to do that. You need to be able to understand as a leader when you should accept new things and when you should say, oh, no, not now. Or this one can be ready in 4 weeks' time. And if they don't accept the timeline, it's better to disagree early than you keep accepting, and your team will become overwhelmed or derailed on the priority of the business. Now, use tools and techniques to categorize urgent versus important tasks. There are a lot of tools that can help you do this. There are just so many tools that can help you do this. In software development, we have quite a lot. You can use your Slack, you can use Asana, you can use even your Microsoft project. You can use, there are a lot of tools that can help you. All you just need to do is categorize the timeline for the job in terms of when it is meant to be done, and track the delivery of each team member. Make sure that there's a threshold that no one wants to go beyond. Ideally, any team member should not be doing less than 70 to 80% of fulfilling and closing out whatever is assigned to them at the right time. Now, set boundaries to avoid burnout. So if something is meant to be delivered by 30th of the month on month, don't wait until the 30th of the month, except if it is that 30th that some data will be available and will be utilized. But if not, ensure that you do them early, and like I said, set boundaries to avoid burnout. Effective time management projects calm control, not frantic firefighting. You don't want your team to see you as someone who just get things, across to them without proper schedule and without proper planning. It will not make them trust you and make them lose, focus as a team. New managers often drown in competing demands. This is your reality. There will be so many things that will be coming. Oh, the senior manager has given you a new task. The director has given you a new task. The CFO, the chief has given you another one. Which one will you do at the same time? Please note that if the senior manager's assigned task has more value and more priority than that of the CFO, please, you need to focus on it. Because if you leave something that is most critical and important to the organization and take on something that is less important, by the time the effect will come in, you'll be asked questions, and nobody will listen to you that you did Oga's job because it was Oga. No. Now, the transition to management creates sudden time pressure. Many try to maintain individual contributor work alongside management duties. Not possible. Delegate. First line leaders must learn to balance workload and handle competing demands. Poor time management leads to 12-hour days and constant firefighting. I would say, and with all humility, I will say to you that anything you do and you have not delivered your daily objective by 8 hours, then you are not an effective person. Because the remaining hours, your productivity would have dropped. And what will take you 20 to 30 minutes to deliver in the wee hours of the days will then take you sometimes 1.5 hours or 2 hours to deliver in the night. So you just be in the office struggling, trying to think you are doing something, but you are wasting your time, wasting your energy, wasting your resources, and at the end of the day, you get overwhelmed. Now, those who master time management gain credibility. Those who don't lose it quickly. Please note that you don't want to be that team manager that when people assign tasks, expected delivery date is 30th of the month, you say, oh, it is my team member. No, this is not a function of your team. This is a function of you showing up and stepping up as a leader. The drum that beats loudest often has the least rhythm. The drum that beats loudest often has the least rhythm. Like a drummer who maintains steady rhythm over frantic beating. Effective leaders master consistent, prioritize action over chaotic busyness. Don't just be that kind of person that runs up and down. Be the ones that delivers results and gets things, done. All right, navigate the organizational landscape. This part is something that I've never seen any standard effectively address or speak to it. And this is purely driven by human nature. And now we have set up our structure as human beings. So you must be able to navigate the organization's landscape. And this will help your team to stay above board and office structure. Your team will not be caught in, the confusion of what to do, who has done this, who has done that, or even sometimes punitive measures that is then given to someone who has maybe delayed or not met up with their task. Now, managing others means managing relationships with bosses, peers, and stakeholders. And this is the bit where there is a mix of office politics and your new leadership role. You cannot avoid it. Despite you being a professional, you cannot avoid it. And this is why you need to keep managers informed of progress and challenges. Avoid surprises when it comes to you getting across to your line manager. Don't wait until the dying moment or when things are going south before you now send a message and say things are going south. No. In the morning, when you come to work, you can anticipate and tell the person that if A and B is not done by so time, things will go south. When you go back to the person and say things have gone south, then the person will not say, hey, why are you just coming to me? No, the person would have been prepped ahead that things can go north or go south. Now, build lateral relationship with other department leaders. One thing you need to understand is that there are people in every organization that has a voice or the ears of the leaders. And that's why you must have good relationship within your organization and especially amidst your peers at your level and those that are above you. Because there are rooms that when things will be spoken about of you, of your team, and of the organization generally, but impacting you, you will not be there. And this is where you need to build that relationship. So that when those kind of conversations happen in rooms you are in, you will see leaders, peers, senior colleagues who will call you and tell you this has happened and this is what I think you should do. Understand company culture and unwritten norms. I would say that the unwritten norms are sometimes the things that causes some managers, if not most managers, not to succeed. I don't want to go into the unwritten norms and emphasize on them too much. But I've heard of organizations where if you get to the office and you don't greet, whether it's the head of finance, the head of HR, the head of this, head of that, morning, daily, By the time it's time for promotion, they will just say, who is that guy? That guy that is proud. But you realize that these unwritten norms of you greeting someone and saying hello to someone, as mundane as it sounds, as unnecessary as it sounds, is still part of our culture as humans to engage and have conversation. So I'm thinking and I'm asking myself, go to the comment section, correct me if I'm wrong. What would you lose if you go to that person every morning and say good morning? What would you lose? From where I sit, I don't think you lose anything. So watch out for the unwritten norms in your organization and take note of all these norms so that as much as possible, you are not caught in the crossfire. You are not caught where, people will just say that one, that's how it behaves. Now, advocate for your team's need to hire hubs. I have seen a scenario where a team member got a promotion. And when, it was time to speak about the salary of that team member, I spoke to my HRBP and I said, this is what I think this person should earn. And the person said, no. So person will not approve it. And I said, why? Why wouldn't the person approve it? I am the manager. Tell the person, this is what I want. He said, no, I'm not going to tell the person. You go and tell the person yourself. And I said, no problem. Then we went to the person together. And I said, hey, this person is moving up from north down to the south, moving the family, moving this, moving that, and you expect the person to just have this little change in salary. And the person said, hey, yeah, it makes sense. But I think what you're asking for is too high. Why not reduce it to this percent? I said, yeah, that's fine. I'm okay with that. And that was it. That increase is good enough. Is way better. And the feedback I had from that team member after a while was very surreal. The person was doing something in HR and then interacted with someone, and then he said, how come you are earning this kind of salary? Your guy is a good guy. And then I smiled. I said, oh, you don't know the war I fought before you get the money, so don't worry, just go and do your job. So advocate for your team's need to hire hubs, whether it's a pay increase or it's not time for people to be their salary to be increased. Tell the organization, I've got this talent, he's so good that if he leaves now, I'm not going to be in a good place. Increase his salary, do this for him. Or if at all you think it's not a cycle for promotion, let's give him a commitment, a written commitment. Because one thing you need to understand is that every organization says we have plans for you, but plans is not open to anyone. So don't be that leader that keeps saying we have plans for you, we have plans for you. No, let our plans be in commitment. Get the organizations and the higher ups to commit, so that as much as possible you have done your part. And where you have done your part and they are not committing, find a way to document it, so that one way or the other, when that talent is lost or something happens, there's a reorganization, there's a change, no one will come back to you and say you did not fight for your team or you did not do the needful. Now, great managers lead not just their team, but within the broader organization. When there are projects, when there are opportunities for things to be done in the organization, please show up. Show up, because those are the things that will show your skills that are outside your technical skills and beyond your team leadership. Show up, be part of a team that will bring a policy together, be part of a team that will bring a change together, be part of a team that will even organize, so-called social gatherings or parties in your organization. Be part of the team and let your skills be relevant to making change. Yeah, I spoke about the political reality. Organizational application skills determine leadership success. New leaders or new managers who lack political skills often struggle significantly. So this is critical, this is important. But please don't get into a scenario where you lose your professionalism and do only office politics. No, that is not expected of you. You need to understand that because of cultural change and political structure, what will be relevant when you leave your organization is not just those political skills. What will be relevant is your technical leadership competency. But this political skill is just a must-have. It's just something that you cannot neglect, but don't focus on it too much. Understand corporate culture is crucial for effectiveness. Read all your policies, know the policies, and follow them to the letter. Don't be found wanting, that someone in your team, your subordinates will not be the one telling you that, oh, so you don't know this is what the organization says. Please learn everything that has to do with people. The leave, bonuses, the overtime allowance, whatever it is that is related to people and has been stipulated by the organizations, learn them, know them, and give them to your team when they deserve it. Now, many underestimate how much success depends on cross-team collaboration. Please don't neglect it. Other teams are doing something that your team may not be doing in the immediate, but learn from them. Ask yourself, if the organization says team A is the most effective, team A's leader is rated highly, ask them, what are they doing? How are they doing it? And collaborate with them so that you also improve your own team. Managing up and across is as important as managing down. So this goes as to even managing your own line manager. You need to manage him. And across, in terms of your peers, you need to manage and show that as much as possible you want to learn, you want to do things that affects not just your subordinates, but also your peers and line manager and your line manager. Now, ignoring organizational dynamics risks blindsiding your team and limiting your impact. When you suffer as a leader, it will impact your team. So please take note. Don't let your team suffer from your inadequacies or your lack of understanding how you need to contribute to developing your interrelational skill within your organization, outside your department, and to other team members or part of the organization that are very relevant. Wisdom for preparation, the strength in others. A tree cannot make a forest. This is a very popular African proverb, and that's where we are talking about these dynamics in terms of organization. Just as no single tree creates a forest, no leader succeeds in isolation. Your effectiveness depends on cultivating relationships and alliances throughout the organization. Now, this goes to organizations. So if you are a CEO, you are a founder, this speaks to you. Structured training programs. Invest in training future leaders. Invest in training future leaders. There used to be a time where we had a lot of graduate training programs all in town, but I think that has reduced now by, I don't know what percent to put to it, but loads of percentage. I don't think I'm seeing up to 10% of what we used to have back in the days, which speaks to how organizations are now investing in training. Organizations want ready-made talent rather than the ones they will groom in the organization. I would say that this is a 50-50. As you are getting experienced people, still groom people within your organization. Groom them within your organization so that when they grow in the organization, they fall in love with the culture, they grow and increase in responsibility. You train them appropriately, you will retain them. When you train them appropriately, you will retain them, because when they love what they see, and they'll be hearing about other places, they'll be hearing what they are doing. The only thing that will move some of these talents away from you, in most cases, is usually money. And today, people are learning to understand that money is not enough. Money is not the only thing. You need to understand the culture of that organization. You need to understand the leader or the line manager you'll be working with. So that's already putting a lot of influence on young people. And given the fact that young people also want things to be very fluid these days, nobody just wants to jump the ship and move to somewhere where the boat is tightened and things are not as, in quote, as fun as where they are. So structured training program is essential. It's important, and that's the first thing I would encourage organizations to have. You must not assume promotion magically confers management ability. Help people to go through the journey of how to become a leader. The journey of becoming is critical and is important. In fact, it doesn't guarantee success, but it improves the chances that that leader will succeed. Now, provide formal training and onboarding for new leaders. Offer workshops for leadership fundamentals. There are so many trainings from Lagos Business Schools, for example, that speaks to short executive training, short manager courses. Please find the budget to send your leaders for this kind of training. Offer workshops on leadership fundamentals. And there are also startups who are doing great things in equipping leaders. I really don't want to speak on any particular product, but there are quite a lot of fantastic, products and startups who are doing great things. I would love to see research about them. If you need more information, you can chat with me. I will gladly share them with you privately. Create bootcamp style training in first months. Create like a structure where you take that leader, if it's one person, through the things they should know about the organization, the things that can cause, shocks and surprises for them, the things that they need to understand as a new leader they have to start doing. Focus on communication, goal getting, and coaching skills. Ensure they have this. Ensure you upgrade their communication nuances. Help them to set goals of their own accord, because they've not been doing this. Someone has been doing theirs for them. Now that they need to do it for themselves and for their team, you need to help them. Now, a little upfront investment in training prevents costly mismanagement and talent loss. When it comes to things like abuse in the organization, or things like not just verbal abuse, but even words that are spoken in such a way that team members complain that their line managers don't speak the right words to them, he abuses them, verbally assaults them. Those kind of things can be prevented if we do an upfront investment and we help people understand that, as per our policy, as per our structure, and as per our DNA, these are the things we do. It will help. All right. Return on investment of training. Nearly 60% of new managers never receive training for their role. That is, informational. Better trained managers lead to more engaged teams. 70% of team management hinges on manager quality. One survey linked untrained managers to 1/3 of employees wanting to quit. Can you imagine? Just a survey linked untrained managers to 1/3 of employees wanting to quit. And this is where I would also encourage the HR team to do better, because if you are transferring a lot of responsibility in terms of how the team is managed to line managers, which I see as a challenge, but that's a different conversation for HR team. The extinction of an HR team can happen quickly in any organization where the line managers are equipped appropriately. When they are equipped appropriately, beyond hiring, payroll, and some other important responsibility, you just need a very lean HR team. Now, training new managers isn't an expense. It's one of the highest return investments a company can make. Yes, you say it's an expense. Nobody will listen in finance that it's not an expense, but the return in terms of the value to the organization is why this should be seen as an investment, not an expense. And when you also attend training, please let me note quickly that don't go into these training sessions and then be distracted by your work. Young managers, you have the tendency, my job. Please focus on this training. I've learned from one of the best HR managers I've ever interacted with. He's late. God keep his memories and soul. That if there is anything an organization will not take away from you when you are leaving, it is the training that they have equipped you with and the experience you have gathered. So don't go into those training sessions and be distracted. So much has been invested and vested in you. In some cases where you have the capacity, keep your phone away from you, in your cars or in your bag or somewhere where there will be no distraction. Always ensure that you are concentrating like your life depends on it, because it does. Your career, your future depends on how much you're able to imbibe and how much you're able to learn and start doing from that training session. A house built on weak foundation will not withstand the storm. A house built on weak foundation will not withstand the storm. Organizations that fail to build strong leadership foundations through training will see their teams crumble when challenges arise. Invest in the foundation first. It is critical, it is important, and we need to do it. Second one, mentoring and coaching system. Pass the wealth of knowledge of veterans to newbies. Pass the wealth of veterans to newbies. Create a culture of ongoing support for new managers. Pair first-time managers with seasoned mentor leaders. Pair them, whether they are internal or external. Pair them. Let them have people they can, bounce ideas, off from time to time. Encourage direct supervisors to take active coaching roles, especially when that direct supervisor is experienced. Not in a case where the two of them are newbies, which is a possibility. Foster peer learning groups and communities of practice. Foster peer learning groups and communities of practice. There are some people I've seen that they are in different function, production, engineering. They are not HR people, but they have a community of knowledge and practice of HR practices that when they engage you, you'll be asking yourself that why are they not in HR? So don't assume that only HR people have that, community of practice or competency and knowledge. Foster, peer learning groups and communities of practice. Normalize asking for help and continuous learning. Normalize it. Let people know that they can ask for help. It's not a sign of weakness. It's not a sign that they don't know what they are doing. Asking for help is a noble way of showing vulnerability and humility. And that's why I believe that there is really no way you can say there is a stupid question. Yes, that's a different conversation, but I still stick to it. There is no stupid question. It only depends on you understanding the place or the journey of that person asking the question. The person in the first place is already vulnerable, then asking the question. And that's why you see in our society most times people don't publicly ask questions. Why? Because they are afraid of what people will say. Some might even say, what if I don't say it the right way? Or what if my grammatical construct or structure is wrong? What if this? Please feel free, ask your questions. Don't be afraid. And in every organization, normalize it so that people can come to you, ask questions. Instead of failing, they would learn, they will get the necessary help and move on. Now, no new manager should tackle leadership challenges alone. They need help, community of help that needs to be around them. All right, I think that will be where we will stop. The mentoring advantage. The impact of mentoring is transformational. 72% retention rate for employees with mentors versus 49% without. Only 34% of new managers had any mentoring support. Just 31% received coaching during their transition. Mentoring greatly boosts both retention and performance. And organizations that provide mentors create leaders. Those that don't create casualties. Please let us leverage this. The elder who is loved is like a green tea in the dry season. Now, one of the reasons why I try to put some of these African proverbs is for us to understand that we are dealing with real lives here. And there are wisdoms in abundance that have dealt with some of these problems. And we cannot avoid them. We cannot run away from them. So, the guiding light principle is that elders that are around will provide a covering for anyone who is willing to learn. And this adage is really, really, really apt, saying the elder who is loved is like a green tree in the dry season. And like a green tree providing shade and life in harsh conditions, experienced mentors nourish new leaders through the challenging seasons of their development. On one of these days, I'd love to speak about how to handle crisis. Because one thing you need to understand as new leaders is that you will face a lot of challenges. Some of them will metamorphose into crisis. When you don't have a leader, an elder, a coach, a mentor ahead of you, the chances that you will survive crisis is low. You will need angels and God to help you if those structures are not around you. And this is really, really critical and important. And don't undermine it. So if there is none existing within your organization, if you are a business and you really want to go far, please set up the structure. And if you are also a young leader, you want to go far, please look for where the structure exists and get it, even if it's a page drop. All right, so the 10 habits we've learned, I will just breeze through them quickly. Embrace continuous learning. Seek mentors and peer support. Cultivate emotional intelligence. Communicate clearly and listen actively. Delegate tasks and empower your team. And today we learned set clear goals and align expectations. Provide feedback and coach regularly. Manage conflict and difficult situations. Master time management and prioritization. And navigate the organizational landscape. All right? I would love to take a sip of water here as I close, but if there's any question, please drop in the comments. I'm here and I'll be glad to speak. All right, closing out, the leader you choose to become. It's critical. What kind of leader are you choosing to become? For new managers, my encouragement is practice the 10 habits we have shared, seek mentorship, and remember, your team's success is your success multiplied. For organizations, invest in your leaders through training and mentoring. The return on investment is extraordinary. And for everyone, leadership is not a title, it's a commitment to serving others and multiplying human potential. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Your leadership journey starts today. Choose to be the leader your team deserves. Choose to be the leader your team deserves. I love this. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. I love this. The second best time is now. I'd love to say thank you to everyone who has joined today. I'm grateful for your time, for your interest to develop yourself and to learn new things about how you can become a better leader. My name is Okwayemi Shokumi, like you know. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter, on X, formerly Twitter. What I would love to say is that my most engaged platform is LinkedIn, so feel free to reach out to me there, and I'll be happy to engage you.